Welcome to Respections. I'm your host, Delvey McCoy, sitting in for Patrick Tomlinson. Now, today we have a very distinguished guest, a mother, a wife, a community activist. Her name is Pamela Johnson. She has an extensive background in community activism, education, non-profit, and a whole other stuff that I don't think we're going to have enough time to go through, but I'm going to give her an opportunity to tell you about what she does. Welcome, Pamela. Welcome to Respections.
Thank you for having me.
Same here. Nice to have you. Now, Ms. Johnson, let's start with your personal story. You were born and raised in the Bronx and educated within the New York City public school. Can you share how those experiences and shape your passion for community activism?
I was actually born and raised in the South Bronx, and
Wonderful.
right down the block, more houses, and my mother raised us in NYCHA, in the NYCHA development, and by the time, and I went to St. Anselm's, which is actually in this area as well.
Okay.
It shaped a lot of my life and learning, and dealing with resources and lack of resources and how to get resources. So when we moved to the North Bronx, it was a different atmosphere, but it was the same issues. So how it shaped me is that I was able to understand that education is extremely important. Reading and reading well is extremely important. And those are the things that kind of shaped me, doing a nonprofit organization, being on the president of the school board, working with the Department of Education, starting a nonprofit, working with kids to make sure that they read and read well and get their homework done. So it has been it has actually really shaped a lot of everything that I do, knowing that I come from a NYCHA. I'm proud to say it, and I haven't left. My heart is with those that need it the most. And I can see me doing that for the rest of my life because I enjoy giving back to the community.
Wonderful. Now, I see here that you have 3 kids.
Yes.
And you've had a long career working, based on what you've just said about coming from NYCHA, you've worked to uplift others. Now, tell me a little bit about your academic, professional journey and how you have used that to transition into helping others.
So I went to Murray Bertram High School, and then I transferred to Purchase for a year, did extremely well, went to Pace University, got married, and in that period of time of having children, it took literally like 13 years for me to get my degree. So I just want to tell you, those who are doing one class at a time, keep doing one class at a time. If that's all you can do as long as you don't stop. So it took me 13 years because I was raising my children, and it just took me a awful long time to do it. But my mother kept saying, you know, I want my children to graduate. My mother didn't graduate from college. She kept saying, I want my children to graduate. And I even to this day, even though she has passed away in 2020, I still hear that. You know, she was the one that really pushed me to get my degree, because she would say to us at night, are you going to go to college? And we would say, I think it was like psychological, mental, that my mother used to do on us. We would say, yes, Mommy, we're going to college, we're going to college. And then here I am, I got married, had children, and I'm still trying to, you know, struggle to get my college degree. So with that, I started volunteering for the PTA. So I was on a PTA.
Wonderful.
And then my children's school. But I was always active. And one day in my youngest child's school, she said, one of the parent coordinator, Ms. Placencia, I'm going to give her name at Renaissance High School on the Lehman campus, She was like, Miss Johnson, she just kept coming at me. Just, are you going to join? Are you going to join? And finally I did. So this is a shout out to all the parent coordinators in New York City who do that very hard job of engaging parents. And
Okay.
she did. And then I got on the high school council, CCHS, which is the Community Council for High Schools. And then ended up being on the community board, ended up being the president of District 11.
Yes, I see here that you have a wide variety of experience with civic and community organizations that you work along with.
Yes.
Now, let me just piggyback a little bit off your PTA experience.
Yes.
Now, can I say that is what prompted you into starting your non-profit organization? The fact that there's so much people and kids who have needs and parents, and you figure that the best way for you to help these people is to start an organization which you'll be able to reach more people. Am I correct?
That was part of the pie. That was part of the pie.
Okay.
So one of the things was I worked for corporate America. And corporate America, I thought I was going to have my career in corporate America. And I just realized that this was just not for me and that I wanted to do something more in the community. And so while I worked in corporate America, I was working to get the nonprofit up and running. And once I got it up and running, I was like, that's it. I'm leaving. Married, 3 kids, started out with absolutely nothing. Someone let me use a room. I was like, I have this idea, this great idea. I want to start a nonprofit organization where I can do computer classes, because I knew that there were a lot of people in the community, because we're talking like 1999, I started this nonprofit organization, and
Okay.
I knew that there were a lot of, I'm from Barbados, so I knew that there were a lot of Caribbean people who probably relied on their grandchildren who didn't have time, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this. I want to make sure that they have the technical skills, they know how to email, they know how to use a computer, because we were transitioning, and that is really what spurred me to run. Like, I could run. Once the first person said you can use this room, I ran with it.
Right. Now, let me ask this question.
Sure.
I see here that you were the president of District 11 School Board.
Yes.
What are some of the most important initiatives or changes you champion for the Bronx community, particularly in education?
Okay, and I'm glad you asked that question. During my tenure at CEC 11, we built several schools because it was overcrowded. And that was one of the biggest things that I honestly can say was, even though we still have overcrowding and we need more middle school seats in District 11, I championed at least to get schools. They were built. Actually, 3 of them were built in the community, and that was one of the biggest things. And just I felt like when I was the president, I needed to be really seen at other schools, not just be a leader, but be interested in what other schools were doing. So what I would do is I would go to other PTA meetings. I made myself available. I let people know who I am, how can I help you? What resources can I give you? What are your best practices? How can I take what you're doing at your school to another school? So I enjoyed CEC 11. I really did. And it was done so well that the Department of Education had me to mentor in CEC 7 for a bit.
That's wonderful that you mentioned mentorship, because that's my next point I'm going to discuss with you, mentorship and youth empowerment.
Yes.
Now, I didn't know this, but you're affectionately known as a scholarship lady.
Yes.
How did that
Yes.
nickname come about, and what motivated you to focus so much of your time securing scholarship?
Yes.
I knew in part, and I must say for the record, that I know Miss Johnson since about 1999 also. And I knew that one of the things she told me was that, listen to me, I know how to get scholarships, all right? I know how to get stuff. So if you need it, I know anybody who need it, let me know. So tell the viewers how you got involved in securing scholarships and internship for young people in the community.
So just like my mother did with us, are you going to go to college? I did to my children at night. Are you going to go to college? Yes, Mommy, I'm going to college. So now it's time to go to college, and I don't have the money. So I said to myself, let me at least connect with someone who's doing scholarships. So I connected with this woman who was doing scholarships, and I asked her, can you help me? And she said no. And I was so taken back, and I said, Lord, 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 if you just show me the scholarships and show me how to fill them out to win them, I promise I will show other kids how to do it. And that's what I did. So the average is like 1 out of every 10 you win a scholarship, but I was winning 1 out of every 3. And I honestly believe
Amazing.
I honestly believe that God gave it to me not just so that my kids can benefit, but other kids could. And so I started
Right.
going to other schools. I started with Renaissance High School. I started doing scholarship workshops, and then I just started going to other schools. And I was going to schools of, for kids of color because they're most likely to graduate with debt. And I didn't want my kids to graduate with debt, and I don't want your children to graduate with debt as well.
Right.
And then I started getting calls from Texas, and I ended up being on Here and Now, TV show on ABC, and I was getting calls from New Jersey. But because it's such a need, because parents don't have college tuition.
1 minute here. You said
Yes.
ABC reach out to you?
Yes, they did.
That's amazing. So
Yes.
you're doing an awesome job.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Keep going.
And I realized that the issue with the scholarships, it's not that you cannot find the scholarships. You just don't, you have to change your mindset. So the mindset is not that I'm receiving it. If you take the mindset of I am the grantor. So if I'm the grantor and I'm giving you money, what other types of children do you give money to? So what you want to do is to go on the website, and this is just a tidbit, this is a free one. You want to go on the website and see who they've given scholarships to. And you tell your story. So the story that we had was not, we lived uptown. It was a hot spot for drug and crime. And that was the opening sentence of the essay. And the essay was what pulled it in. And I knew from that essay, if you just tell them where you are or the struggle that you've been through, your mother may have had a sickness. You may have had, challenges in your life, and we didn't sugarcoat it. And I think because we didn't sugarcoat it, when they read the application, it was different. It was different. It was so different from what they were reading that it was easy for them to pick it out. So, and this is what I tell in the workshops, tell who you are. You can embellish if you like and make it nice and sweet, but you cannot lie on it. Don't lie on your scholarship essays. And your recommendations, make sure that your teacher is giving you a very good recommendation. So there's a lot to getting your scholarship application, but it transcends into your college application because it's the same information that they're asking. And there are a lot of children who I've helped get scholarships for, and I'm still doing scholarship workshops.
Awesome. Now, let me ask this question.
Yes.
What advice do you have for young people who are struggling to find direction or opportunities in their life? What would you say to them in order to, make that transition, knowing that you came from the housing and where you are today? What advice would you offer them?
So the advice that I would offer youth today would be to find a mentor, someone who you can go to, you can ask questions. Everybody does not have the answer, but somebody knows somebody that knows somebody that could get you the answer. So there are so many resources in the community that a lot of people don't know that are there. So you can start with your community board. You can start with any organization like the NAACP, National Council for Legal Women, an Hispanic organization, and you tell them, because when you keep to yourself that you need money for college and you don't tell anybody else, you don't give them the opportunity to be a blessing to you. So somebody knows something about something. So you want to be able to connect with an adult, and it doesn't have to be your parents, because sometimes, your parent may not be the adult that could get you to where you have to go to. So you want to be just get someone who is behind you, who knows enough about you to move you to your next direction and your next journey. So
can I probably say in one word, it's important to network?
It's important to network.
We're going to take a break on that. Viewers,
yes.
We're going to come back and speak to Ms. Johnson about more interesting stuff that she's doing in the community as an advocate. See you in a few.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Can you see anything different as a pill?
No.
You don't know?
Fentanyl is being mixed into everything now. There's only one thing that will save somebody's life. That is naloxone nasal spray.
Fentanyl, it's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
Why would drug dealers put a lethal dose of fentanyl in drugs if they know it's so harmful?
Really just all about the money.
I just didn't realize that one pill could change your whole life.
More kids should know.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
Bro, you gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's a white people thing.
Escúchame, en esta casa los hombres no lloran.
You all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
Thanks for hearing me out, bro. Appreciate it.
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad. Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
Welcome back to Respections, where today we have an interesting guest, Pamela Johnson with us today. Now, we ended where we're speaking about youth empowerment, different scholarship that she's involved in, and help kids to gain. So we're going to continue from there. Now, Ms. Johnson, welcome back again.
Thank you.
Now, I know you have an after-school program that you run.
Yes.
Speak to me a little bit about your after-school program and the achievement you have had with this after-school program.
The after-school program started in 2008, and we have enrolled mostly kids from charter schools. Actually, the majority is from public schools, and we get some from charter schools. They come, they do their homework. That is mandatory. You must, when you walk in that door, get that homework out. We do tutoring. We also have computers, so if they have Google Class, Zern, they're able to go into the computer room and get their homework done. So it's a complete holistic after-school program that when they go home, all they have to do is have their mother give them a bath and put them to bed for the next day.
Wow, that's amazing. So you make it easy for parents once the kids get out of school.
Yes.
Now, let me ask about some of the challenges you have.
Yes.
And, the future of the program that you run right now. Speak to me about those challenges that you have, because it can't be all good and well. You must have encountered some challenges.
So one of the challenges that we have is we need to expand.
Okay.
That is a challenge, finding space for the program. So when I expand, I want to expand the after-school program, but I'm also interested in starting an early childhood development program. And one of the reasons why I would like to do that is because I like to catch the kids before they get into school. I'm finding the challenges is that a lot of kids are not being taught how to read from home. They don't know phonetics. They're not sounding out the words. Mm-hmm. And it takes time to get a child to understand that and to learn and to read. So if I can get them at 3, at 4, by the time they hit the school, because I'm an avid reader. I was an avid reader from young. And I know that if they gain those skills early, we can kind of avoid the pipeline to prison, because it's a 3rd grade test that determines in their reading how they're building the jails.
So you're saying pretty much there's a great need in the community. You're in the Eastchester Heights community, which is over there off Boston and Seymour Avenue. Seymour, that's where you're located.
Correct.
And there's a great demand, which is why you're thinking about expansion.
Absolutely.
Speak to me a little bit. Let's switch over to the adults. You're a non-for-profit organization.
Okay.
And you just said something about keeping them off the street.
Yes.
You have an employment opportunity program about second chances. Speak to me about this second chance program.
So we do have a second chance, but I also want to mention that we have summer youth employment. I've been doing it for like almost 25 years. It's been a long time I've been doing summer youth, so hundreds of kids have come through our program. And I enjoy having them. The kids enjoy having them, and it gives them skills and workforce development program, workforce development. So what we do is at Eastchester Heights, we actually have computer classes that I actually taught, but now we have a new teacher. who I'm speaking with right now, who's absolutely amazing.
Yes, viewers, I happen to be her teacher, computer instructor,
Yes.
for the record.
Yes, but we also do business classes.
Okay.
So we do how to start a business, how to get your EIN, which is extremely simple to do. Do you want to do a nonprofit? Do you want to do a LLC? So those starting up. Actually, it was sponsored the first time we did it on our own. Second time it was sponsored by Carl Hasty's office.
Awesome.
With the
so
teacher.
you work with the Carl Hasty, you say?
Right. So the
Great.
teacher that I had who worked with me to get it the first time, we were able to bring her back, but she was able to get. It was funded by Carl Hasty's office.
Okay.
Amazing. If you can get.
And he's a state assembly leader, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he is.
Great.
He is.
I know Carl Hasty.
Yes,
I've worked with him in the past too.
He's been an amazing supporter of the program as well. So as adults, you want them to be able to learn how to do their resume, how to do Word, how to do Excel, and be able to use the computer and have those skills. Because I don't know of too many organizations that don't use Excel or Word, PowerPoint presentations, and it's important that our community gets that information because those are skills that'll take them into the future.
I notice here you're speaking about your community activism, and I just want to have to ask this question. I see here that both yourself and your husband has been a deacon and deaconess for your church for 30 years.
Yes.
Now, how has that impacted your work and how you relate with those who are less fortunate, those who have less opportunity? Speak to me just for a minute about
Okay,
that.
so I'm a Christian woman, right? I'm a Christian. So I walk by faith, right? And I believe that even if I don't see it, that I can achieve it because I believe that God is watching over me and that God is ordering my steps.
Awesome.
So it is, I will pray for someone in a heartbeat. Stop and have prayer in a heartbeat. And it really governs my life and what I do, what I say, what I don't say, what I hold, what I don't hold. So God has pretty much ordered my steps in this whole area. And one of the things that the Lord said to me, I was like, God, I don't know, I have so many hats that I wear. Which one? And he said, pick one. He said, and I will bless you with the rest. And everything came. The workforce development program, the nonprofit, the after-school program, working with seniors, even, with the school board, community board. I'm actually the president right now of Department of Youth and Community Development, NABS board in District 11. And they give out grants to nonprofit organizations, and their turn, they do it every 3 years. So they're getting ready to do a survey. So they're getting ready to give money. And the last time they gave money, they gave, I believe it was like $252,000 out to the community, and it is only given out by community members. So those who are on the NAB board are the ones who are giving the money out to nonprofits in their organization, and this is done around the city. So if you're a nonprofit and you want to do financial courses, or you want to do music, you want to do whatever there's a need for, there is money for you. And I know that there are nonprofit organizations that sometimes get looked by their political leaders. This is not one of those organizations. They're going to look at you and they're going to look at your organization and you apply, and it's actually online. So I want nonprofit organizations to get into getting city contracts, state contracts. That's so important. A lot of times we just work from the resources that we get from ACS or childcare, but there are other resources that you can do that will take you to another level.
All right, let me just, again, piggyback off what you just spoke about a while ago. Now, given the range of issues that you have tackled in your career, what do you believe is the most urgent issue facing communities in the Bronx today?
Okay. One of the things that is close to heart is, especially in District 11, and this is really specific to District 11, and I'll get to the Bronx as well. District 11 pays the highest property taxes in the Bronx. But in reference to all of the Bronx, I just feel like there needs to be more resources for our children. I think there needs to be targeted resources for our children. And I just want to say thank you to the parents that participate, who are in their children's lives, who are on school boards, who are on PTAs. It's so important that you participate because this is an election year for the CECs. And it's a known fact that when you participate as a parent, your children do well in school. So that's key.
Awesome. I believe that too. Now, unfortunately, we're running out of time,
Oh.
so I have something to ask you about
Yes.
your future community work.
Yes.
Now, looking ahead, what are your goals for your non-for-profit?
Okay.
Urban community, urban
neighborhood.
community, education technology for you.
You're close.
Yes.
It's Urban Neighborhood Educational Technology for You. So
I messed that up, sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. We were given a grant from the SBA,
Yes.
about $300,000, and we're trying to find property. So I want to move into our own building. So I'm looking to move into. That is one of the biggest things, in the expansion. To have our own building. I'm looking to have our own building so that we can execute those financial workshops or scholarship workshops, to do a college scholarship and career place where we can go and just have one place, because going to different schools takes a lot, but if I could get everybody in one spot at different times of the year, SAT, because education is the key. At the end of the day, if you don't have an education, you're not going to make as much. You're not going to move as much. And that's one of the things I learned from growing up in the South Bronx. You need your education. You need it. Whether it be vocational education, whether it be academic education, you need your education to get you where you need to go.
And I must say this, one of the things that I do know is that communities face a lot of struggles. Now I'm going to ask you, this is going to be my final question, I'm going to ask you, in a time like this where communities are often faced with division and struggles, what message would you leave, or you would like to leave, with our audience today to empower them in terms of collective action and work? What would it be?
I would like to say, don't give up. Don't give up. There are a lot of organizations that you can be a part of. Be a part of that organization. Your voice is so powerful. When things are not right, you have to speak up. Speak up at your Build-A-Block meetings, at your precinct meetings, at your community board meetings, at your PTA meetings. Your voice is so powerful. And when you join and you're with other parents or community members, collectively, you can move mountains. So that's one of the things that I would tell someone: be a part of people who have a like mind like you.
Like the NAACP,
like the NAACP,
which you've been a part of for a long
which
time.
I've been a part of, National Council of Negro Women. These are mine, but I mean, there are so many other organizations that you could be a part of. That even if you go online and you're on their Zoom meetings, say you can't get out, but you can be on a Zoom meeting and you can feed the children. They have homework. I get it. Everybody cannot be in one place at the same time.
Ms. Johnson,
yes,
it's wonderful having you here today.
Thank you.
Audience, we
Thank
want to
you.
sit and speak to her for a long time because she has a lot of experience, a lot of community work, a lot of activism, but unfortunately, we have to end right here, and we want to thank Ms. Johnson for coming and joining us today on Respections. Thank you very much,
Thank you so much for having me.
You're most welcome. Whew.